Hello, welcome to a stream where I'm going to showcase two sets of top quality battles, the highest level really, and some mistakes by myself. In a charity tournament, actually, we had some really big names in there competing. It was hosted by my friend Pranav, and I'm going to talk real quick about the cost real quick and then about the meta. Then we'll go into these battles. So the cost that we have here is the charity tournament that we have that was hosted with GBLA on Pranav's stream. I'll drop a link below. Also for donations. Basically, the cost here was to support St. Baldrick's pediatric cancer research, and Pranav raised over $3,000 for this. And if you want to contribute as well, I will drop the links below in the description. Now let's take a look at my first opponent, Nhoff, one of the best battlers in the world by far. She qualified for Worlds with a Primate. Pretty crazy. She used it only once, had a 100% win rate, but you know, she had it on her team. She basically played like 5 versus 6 all the time. Just a real quick look at the meta. It's basically Open Great League without these Pokemon. Let's just call them the hardest meta. Obviously, Pokemon like Bastiodon is more GBL meta, but regardless, they're kind of annoying, right? I would love to troll around with it, but you know, it's pretty strong. So these are the teams that are in the wicked graphs that Speediest Chief made. You know, you might know him as a caster or from both Play Pokemon and GBLA. And I think it's more of a Vigoroth meta. That's what I built around. I included Araquanid. I included Pelipper. I hecking love Pelipper. And I think Aurora's was one of my worst picks here. My opponent, Nhoff, doesn't have the Vigoroth, but it's definitely a Vigoroth meta. I know she liked the Tapu Fini, so that's why I also had to bring that Cresselia. Beforehand, I was kind of afraid of Buzzwole because it beats about 4 on my team, except the Pelipper and my Cresselia. But on the other hand, I'm also not that afraid because my Araquanid also looks really good against about everything but the Toxapex. And Buzzwole's not great either, but it's playable. Let's take a look at this first battle here against Nhoff. I have quite of an off-meta team. I guess Vigoroth, Pelipper, Cress are pretty meta. Speaking of Cress, I leave my Araquanid in it, which is wonderful for me. And she safe switches into Toxapex. Around Future Sight, which I'm not sure about in hindsight for this meta. I figured Mandibuzz might be quite common because that was not banned. Umbreon is banned, but Mandibuzz is not. And I've considered it myself as well, but I felt like it only really had neutral matchups. And especially since I'm facing Nhoff the first round, which I knew beforehand, I didn't want to have it against like a, what's it called? A Tapu Fini team, right? Because Mandibuzz is not great against like Tapu Fini or the Sandslash. Even though if it's Shadow Claw, Sandslash might be okay. Anyway, she shields those Future Sights. Really annoying. Future Sight should do good damage. I'm not sure if that will KO from here. And she tries to catch unsuccessfully. Swapped one before my Future Sight actually. And yeah, I just kept my cool there. Didn't throw it into this Cresselia. That would have been disastrous because that Toxapex would have been very difficult to take down otherwise. Goes for the Moonblast. Doesn't really matter. The Araquanid is just feasting on this. This is just lovely. Psychic types, dark types, especially like Umbreon, are just food. Look at me getting the defense drop, which is great because now she doesn't get to another move here. And because of that, she can also not farm down with the Toxapex. Toxapex has a really good matchup here because it resists all my bug moves. And that's kind of unfortunate. It's also really bulky. But I'm also bulky. And she still has to throw a Sludge Wave here, which I think will KO from here. We're both bulky, but Sludge Wave is a strong move. That will take me out. I have a Future Sight loaded, though. I have to make sure she doesn't catch, because if she catches it on like a Sandslash, it'll be disastrous. So you'll always see me like waiting just a second before throwing my move, making sure that the move lands, and those will KO from here. In the back is Buzzwole, and this is great for me. I was really afraid of this Pokemon, so I basically decided to just run triple strong against this. This had no play against my team. I mean, Araquanid it had play against, but Cresselia and Pelipper, no shot. So that's a good first game that we had there between myself and Nhoff. I think a bit of a rough team composition for her. She basically got hard counted everywhere. And this time I decided to bring the Berserker. This is also, I believe, is this the only match I brought the Berserker? I'm not sure. I didn't use this Pokemon a lot. I figured its typing could be pretty good against like Cresselia, against Toxapex. Basically those two only really. And Close Combat is useful against like opposing Vigoroth. I double resist the poison moves here. The Brine won't do as much, but since Berserker is pretty fragile. You'll see that they actually do quite some damage with the jabs. The next one actually might KO. And in that case, I don't think KOs, but I only win the zeros just barely, which is annoying. So I'm going to shield once. My Shadow Claws add up a little bit more. I'm at 100 energy now, so I'm going to throw. Actually, I'm almost 100. Next foul play comes in, and at this point, I need to make it. I am counting very carefully, and I know that she just feints barely with the move here, which is huge for me. In comes Shadow, Alolan Sand Slash, and I already know what's going to be in the back. It's the Cresselia, because there's nothing else that you otherwise would bring into this. Anything, except Diggersby maybe. Nah, even Diggersby is better against this otherwise. Yeah, she shields those two close combat, loses her shield advantage. Now I can bring in my Pelipper, which is also not a great matchup, but at least I hit back. Unfortunately, I get denied a false move there, but it's whatever. I'm not in a bad spot per se. Yeah, as you can see, Ice Punch adds up here. I should have thrown before because this Weather Ball damage would put it into like future side range, and it would make everything just would make my life just way more comfortable. And this is a misplay because I throw this move here. That means that the switch clock now is misaligned. In fact, I even do something more stupid here. I forgot she could run Grass Knot, and that would take me out from here. So yeah, at this point it's kind of over. Since I didn't throw the Weather Ball into the Sand Slash, I can't get rid of it really with my Cresselia. I don't have Moonblast. She even drops my attack. And here you see my angry swipes. Actually still does decent damage for a resisted debuff move. This is gonna go on for a little bit. But it's just over. I'm just gonna throw another one, and you might see a coded message here. As you can see, Future Sight just doesn't do enough. But with the Weather Ball, it may have KO'd. That is without the debuff, of course. But yeah, this Ice Punch, I think, will take me out, and that's game over. We're going to get a game number 3 against myself and Nhoff. Feels like really alignment-dependent matchups. Let's take a look at the next one. Cresselia lead. Not my favorite, because I'm double strong against in the back. So I'm going to build up energy here, and then try to catch. And she actually does throw immediately, which I did not expect here. Catching this resistant move on Berserker is nice, but it's also fragile, so it still chunks. Thank God, no debuff. And she brings Tapu Fini, which I did not expect. What does that even beat on my team, other than Aurorus? Even Vigor is so-so. I'm actually going to shield this up, because I have 2 close combats, which will either grant the KO or a shield. Worst case scenario, she farms me down, which I guess is what it is. But if I can get my Rockwind on Cresselia, that'd be beautiful. See if she shields this one. I throw immediately, so she gets less farm. And yeah, she did. So I throw like 1 turn before her next Moonblast here. This was very careful timing from myself. And if she would throw immediately, I could just CMP. And I'm not even sure I win CMP. Stop Fini, I don't remember. She brings in Toxapex actually, predicting my Cresselia in the back. And this is a crucial phase in the match. She would have hard counted me actually if she brought back in the Cresselia and could put a big dent into my Pelipper. But because she brings this in, predicting I have Cresselia on the back, I'm actually in a really good spot now. I just have to make sure this Toxapex is gone. Gonna throw another Hurricane right off the bat. At this point, even if she shields, I can just add in more wing attack damage and Weather Ball at some point to just make it no threat anymore for my Araquanid. Araquanid, even with a shield down, is so fine here because I'm just gonna throw a Bubble Beam right away, debuff this Cresselia. This is what Araquanid is the best at, just debuffing the opponent because you're so bulky. You get to Bubble Beams relatively quickly. Look at this Moonblast. Tickles. It doesn't even matter, which is great. Yeah, I actually liked Araquanid in this meta despite Flyers being so good. Like, especially Pelipper is a god in this meta. Without Pokemon like Basildon, Lickitung and stuff. Yeah, that was my first matchup. And remember, this is a single elimination, so Nhoff is now out, and I have 3 more rounds to go if I win the next one, which is against Thotechtical. You might know him as well, and he's running like the hardest of hardest meta. And it's actually what I'm not too prepared for because Stunfisk and Pelipper especially are annoying. It's an annoying core, right? My Pelipper, the problem here is I have no safe Pokemon. The safest I have is the Vigoroth. I'll say that. Vigoroth will always be there on my side. Um, but Pokemon like Cresselia, hard checked by Mandibuzz and Mew and Steelix, so that makes his Vigoroth even better. It makes his Stunfisk even better. My Aurorus has decent play against Pelipper. It's a winnable matchup. It's a winning matchup basically, but it really isn't as great as you'd hope for because Weather Ball obviously is super effective. Mew has super effective Surf, so it's not as great. Stunfisk is somewhat even. I have the better moveset with Aurorus, but he still hits back with equally fast-pacing Mud Bombs. Also super effective, of course. Berserker has like no play, like almost walled by the Mandibuzz. Vigoroth's always going to be around. Even Pelipper's. Pelipper might be okay, but the others, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Berserker has a lot of players. There's also the Stunfisk, of course. So basically, it's going to be my Vigoroth and my Pelipper that have to do it. Araquanid, don't see too much play because his Pelipper is definitely coming out due to my lack of answers. We have actually both perspectives here, so that's actually pretty cool. Let's take a look here. Myself versus Thotechtical. First matchup, I lead the Vigoroth into Mandibuzz, and this is kind of two things that I predicted from Toe is something double flyer, like Vigoroth or Stunfisk double flyer. Probably Vigoroth because otherwise it'd be really weak to Aurorus. And the other one is just making sure that if he catches a bad lead, he can safe switch in his Vigoroth. And Vigoroth with energy advantage is just so good against me, except if there's Cresselia. And then if I take out the Vigoroth, this thing just hard walls my Cresselia, so I'm kind of stuck there as well. He also runs Dark Pulse, which is worse because that makes the zeros worse here. And Tho is just like me, trying to time optimally here, so just overfarming a little bit. And since I already predict Vigoroth in the back, I mean, it's always going to be there. I need to pull a trick here. So I'm waiting like half a second, then swapping into the Pelipper to catch this Dark Pulse. Honestly, at this point, I don't know exactly what to do, but I need to get energy, a lot of energy on either Vigoroth or Aurorus at some point. And this is probably worst case scenario. This is what I actually expected to draw out was the Stunfisk here, and then farm down with the Aurorus. I can take a Dark Pulse easily on Pelipper if Stunfisk is in the back, because the Discharge would one-shot, while Dark Pulse does around 40%, so I was fine taking that there. But I didn't expect the Steelix in the back, exactly. I'm 100% sure it's Vigoroth. You can see it on the right. I didn't know it exact. I'm 100% sure at the time, but it just seems to be too safe to not use. So I need to cook some tricks here. Right, I need to build up so much energy here. The Mandibuzz is basically useless on Toe's side. I think it has like 2 snarls at this point. Gonna build up so much energy, and at this point I'm prioritizing energy over shields. Because I need all the energy to take out that Vigoroth in the back. And as we can see, Toe, with the very quick reflex, swaps it in immediately into my Vigoroth. I need to get to another body slam to set up my own Aurorus to get to that sweep here potentially. The counters add up. I have a pretty good IV Vigoroth here, luckily. Well, that also means I lose CMP usually, but I get to another body slam, which is crucial, because now I can throw that Weather Ball right away. He goes for an extra counter. Those are double super effective, so I need to get rid of this Vigoroth right away. First Weather Ball coming in, and I throw immediately here, hoping that I get the double CMP, because then Tho cannot sneak a fast move here. So I basically negate another fast move here, a double super effective counter. And in that way, I take as little damage as possible. I still have some energy so I can get to more Weather Balls. One more Power Snow. I take another counter, unfortunately. Does big damage, but there's Mandibuzz has no fast move pressure. Steelix has Dragon Tail, but doesn't have much HP nor energy. Though tries to catch, but it doesn't matter, because I was going to build up to 2 moves here almost anyway. If he did another Dragon Tail, I could throw in his Dragon Tail, and then his Mandibuzz didn't have enough energy to catch up either. So, I don't know how I did it, but just hard predicting, really hard hoping that there was Vigoroth in the back. That really helped me there win that battle. I found myself in a tough spot. Like, if I see the lead, it's easy to read what could be in the back, but it's also tough. So I'm gonna have to make some hard calls. After that Aurora sweep, I didn't really expect the double flyer here potentially. So let's take a look at the next battle. I'm basically sitting here praying, please don't lead Vigoroth. Please don't lead Vigoroth. Because I'm going to safe switch my own Vigoroth here. And you know what happens? Toe is a smart player, so he throws body slam immediately, and then you see I don't sneak my counter through, so that means that Tho is now one counter ahead, and in fact he even swaps in his Pelipper now to just secure switch advantage and secure the Vigoroth. This looks so tough right now. I already had a feeling it's gonna be Mandibuzz in the back too. I think my only win con is that there's Stunfisk in the back, maybe. But even then, gonna go for another one. Smart shield by Tho here, because if he no shielded this, I may have tried to shield and counter down. I'm not sure if I could, to be honest, because he already has so much energy here. Nah, I don't think I could have. And I do have a really good Vigoroth, so do I live this Weather Ball? It's not the strongest move. Vigoroth is a little bit bulky, but no, I don't live. Gonna bring in my Crest. I don't want to take 2 Weather Balls on the Auroras because I know he will get there before that. This Hurricane probably does less than that Weather Ball, so I'm just gonna take it here on Crest. I know that might look stupid because, like, you know, Auroras is useless against Vigoroth, but I don't know. I was a bit clueless on what to do there. And now let's see what's in the back. If Vigoroth comes in, was fine, but it was Mandibuzz, which hard walls me. I have no Moonblast, and I'm just here's the bubbles again. I'm just like swiping with my nose, just being upset. Gonna go into that Aurora's shooting the hardest hitting move on the Auroras, I guess. Does it matter? No. Though still has a shield. The counts will add up so much here. I actually do get 2 Weather Balls, which makes it somewhat close, I guess. But I mean, like, Cresselia against Mandibuzz never ever gets close without Moonblast, at least. Yeah, he throws right before my next Ice Weather Ball. I mean, did it matter? No. Throwing another Weather Ball. Not judging because I gave up. The funny thing why I'm still showcasing this, because it felt like a gentleman's agreement, right? Tho is like, okay, you're BMing me, I'm gonna BM you. So he BMs me here. No bubbling that bulldoze. But I'm not done yet either. I'm gonna go for a future side here as well. Future side incoming, no bubbles. Does this KO? We'll see in a bit. It doesn't. Now he goes into Mandibuzz and throws an aerial ace. 1 HP on my Cresselia. Well played. This game was just over from the start. I was just so much counting on no double flyer. And basically the worst lead that I could face, the only terrible lead I could face with that team was Vigoroth. Let's see if I can salvage somehow in the third one. I'm gonna pick something. I'm gonna lead something he definitely did not predict. And this is also a bad team comp from me, because he's bringing like Pelipper Vigoroth most of the time. He actually didn't bring the Pelipper this time. He's leading Mew, which is great for me. But he does have the Wild Charge that's gonna hit hard. And I really hate this kinda. Because if I shield this, which I'm going to actually, it actually puts me at a big disadvantage at right from the start. I probably should have no-shielded, to be honest. He swaps in his own Pelipper, which is tough for me. I'm going to throw a Ball Beam and then go into my own. The reason why is I want to keep my Arcanine healthy if he has like his own Vigoroth, right? And I don't mind putting in my Pelipper here because I now live a Hurricane. I wouldn't say super comfortably. It's still going to put me really low, but at least I can live it. I can be annoying here. I don't mind like countering down per se if I can get this really low. Going to bait Tho here. Hopefully he shields this. And he does shield the debuff Pelipper, which is really lucky for me. And really good countering from Tho here. He's gonna throw 1 before my next Hurricane. I actually do want that second shield here, but this is far from optimal. I make a slight misplay here. Should probably do a 1 more wing attack or something so the Mew gets less farm. But I just want to get rid of it. I didn't keep track of energy very well either, I must say. So yeah, now I barely don't get to that Weather Ball, unfortunately. He gets to another Wild Charge. My shields are down, so this super effective move is going through. And then I need some luck in the back. Hopefully Steelix, but we see in the back that Unovian Stunfisk. And it's actually tough. He's using the shiny one, which we actually did the event early on that day. So I'm guessing this is a really bad IV Stunfisk, and that's actually going to throw me off a lot here. You'll see why. Because this game is now in my hands. It depends on my end game. What I want to do is to come out with close to 2 body slams, right? But how am I going to do that? I don't want to KO this with a bulldoze. But can I farm this down? This is a really bad IV stun fist probably. If I throw on body slam, it's gonna be really close. I think that I maybe should have thrown the bulldoze and undercharge a little bit, but I'm gonna throw this body slam here. Luckily, I can take the move comfortably because he's debuffed, right? No shields is body slam. It's smart keeping it for the Mew, but I know he's 3 off. So if I CMP with him, he will shield and KO my Vigorot. So I have to throw one before that, which is kind of tough. Yeah, I was afraid he would barely survive there, and if he did, that would cost me the game because my timer was barely not up, so I couldn't catch. On top of that, if I let him catch, or if I catch, he probably just farms me down. So here, next body slam coming through it, gets shielded here. Now, the problem here is I know we're going to CMP on the next one, so that's kind of tough. And here, I tried to catch, but I only saw in hindsight that Tho waited. He waited to see if I would catch or not. But that tells me that he didn't count my counters exactly, which might just make sense because there were so many counters in that Stunfisk versus Vigor matchup, right? I could have just thrown a body slam there, but I predicted him counting my moves well, and unfortunately, overthinking it all cost me that battle. Regardless, well played by Tho. He ended up winning all of it. If you want to see more of that, you should watch the VOD in the link. And, at least I can say that my game one was pretty good. And the one who beat me won it all. So I guess I have that going for me, which is nice. Well played, Tho. And fun battles against both Tho and Nhoff. Thank you for Pranav for hosting as well. And I hope you liked the video.